So welcome again. We continue reading through Euripides, the prologue to Euripides' Iphigeneia in Tauris. And Orestes has been giving quite a long speech, and he begins it, of course, by invoking Phoebus Apollo, and most of this was directed as a kind of prayer to Phoebus Apollo, but of course at the same time he's giving the audience lots of information about why they're there and what their purpose is. And we got up to, I think, here. So he says, Heiko, I have come, Pastes, aorist passive, persuaded, so I have come enthadi here, persuaded by your words, into a land which is agnoston. You can see the alpha privative there, an unknown land, and one which is axenon, unfriendly. These are two termination adjectives because they're compounds. They've got alpha privatives, and so they only have two terminations. So even though this is feminine, they use the masculine endings here. Set de historo, I ask you, and now he's finished his prayer to Phoebus Apollo, and now he addresses Pylades. I ask you, Pylades, and this is the first mention of Pylades' name, so again, the prologue is useful for identifying who the various characters are. So I ask you, O Pylades, for you, understand, are a suleptor, this is from sulembano, it's a third declension noun, my assistant or helper. So for you are an assistant or helper for me in this task, in this trial, or perhaps ordeal. Tidromen, hortatory subjunctive. What shall we do? This is from Drao. Amphiblestra toikon horas hupsela. For you see these high, amphiblestra is something like encirclement. So encirclements of walls. So you could take all this together and just say high enclosing walls. Literally it's the high encirclements of walls. Very poetic. Now we get potera and a down here. So it's asking a question with two alternatives. So either shall we ek be somatha, this is a future middle, and it's from bino, and you've got the extra sigma here in the ending. It's normally method, but you get mesta, which is very common in Greek poetry and in drama. It simply helps to make, well, it makes that that syllable long rather than short, which helps in the meter. So that's a very common thing you'll see. So either shall we get onto or mount pros ambasis. These are scaling ladders of houses, and then, well, that's not a good idea, because he says, how then would we escape notice? This is from Lanthano, from Lanthano to escape notice. So that's one alternative, but it's not a very good one. Or lusantes, having loosed Clethra. These are the bolts which are made from bronze, moklois, with crowbars. Or having loosed the bolt, the bronze-made bolts with crowbars, and then he doesn't finish the sentence, but that's an alternative way of getting in, but that one's no good either. He says, of which is men, from oida, we know nothing. So neither of the alternatives is particularly practicable. And if, this is ain for ean, and if anoigantes, from anoigo, having opened the gates, we might be taken. So this is an aorist passive subjunctive here. We might be taken. And that's going with the an. So if we might be taken, opening the gates and contriving a means of entry, es bases. So if we might be captured, having opening the gates, if we might be caught opening the gates and contriving a means of entry, thanumeth, future from thnesko, we will die. But before we die, hortatory subjunctive, fugamen, let us flee. Epi, notice the accent because it's post-positive, it's coming after neos. Let us flee to the ship at the place where, heper, now stolersemen, where we made our nautical expedition here. So to the place where we landed the ship here, where we made our voyage here. Now Pylades replies, uk anekton, this is from Anna, this is echo to have, and this is an alpha privative here. So it is not bearable, it is not tolerable to flee. So you can take the other way around. So flight is not tolerable, or to flee on the one hand is not tolerable. Nor aethomen, this is from aotha, are we accustomed to it. So aotha is perfect in form, present in meaning. So to flee is not tolerable, nor are we used to it, nor are we accustomed to it. Now there's some difficulty here with the text may be corrupt. One modern edition in place of kakistion, which is a verbal adjective, reads atistion. One must not dishonour. This is from atisto. Well, if it is, it's the only example of this, and so it's again debatable whether that is what it is. As it is, kakistion means one must not, it's a verbal adjective from kakisto, so one must not play the coward. The trouble with that is, if that were the meaning, this would generally be in the middle, and so there's some problems here. We'll just translate it as it is. So, one must not play the coward in respect of the oracle of the god. If you take the other reading, it says one must not dishonour the oracle of the god, which is obviously easier in sense. But now we get a dual. This is apolasso. This is an aorist passive participle in the dual. The two of us having been separated from the temple. So the two of us having departed from the temple, having gone away from the temple. Krupsomen, from krupto, this is a hortatory subjunctive again. Let us hide our body. Well, here we get singular for plural. So let us hide our bodies. Let us hide ourselves, we'd say in English. Cat antra at the caves, which the Melas Pontos, the Black Sea, Diacludzo, it's something like splashes with wetness, so splashes through the surf or something, or splashes through with its surf, because it's dative, so something like that. So at the caves, which the Black Sea splashes through with its surf, apothen, up away from the ship, may, lest 'tis somebody, having seen our scaphos, this is just another word for ship. This technically refers to the hull of the ship, but it's often used, it's not actually in Homer, interestingly enough, but it is used in Greek prose, and it's used in Greek poetry for another word for the ship. It really means the hull of the ship. It's connected with skapto, I think, of digging out or hollowing out. So, lest someone having seen the ship might speak to kings, so might report it to the king, plural for singular. Now, kaita is crasis for kai eta. Kai eta. And then we would be taken, aorist passive, subjunctive, we would be taken by force. But whenever the lugaios is dark, and that's going with night, so the eye of dark night, mole, now that's that verb we had right at the very beginning from blosko. This is the aorist subjunctive here. So whenever the dark eye, the eye of dark night might come, we get lots of verbal adjectives in this bit, and again there's a variant reading here. The toy is changed to tot in many modern editions, because otherwise it would go from, if it was toy for soy, then it would go from singular, and we're going to get a dual down here, so it's easiest to read tot here. One must dare, this is a verbal adjective, one must dare to take, so i.e. we must dare to take the polished agalma statue from the temple. Now we get a dual here, this is from Prospero, bringing to bear all contrivances. So by whatever means we can. So we must dare to take the polished statue from the temple, bringing to bear all contrivances, by whatever means we can.